So they been asking where I been at. Bitch, I been busy.
Nigga, I don't be playing them games.
Man, I'm still one phone call away. But you can tell them we back. Matter of fact, let them know we never left. I'll be back in that one bag, huh?
My friend group compared to yours is different kind of bitches. It's two types, one who talk money and who get it. This ain't the same roll from last night, cause I spent it. My pointer's so big, they keep falling off my pendant. Dior ones, 12,000 each shoe. Think I got a cold, it's salt water in my pool. The rest of my life, I gotta live by one rule. Remind myself every day to dress like you. Y'all ain't making no noise. Who the fuck is old boy? Big boss. I hold my risk up in whole boy. What should I drive today? The Bentley or the Rolls Royce? I put the Cuban on to have my whole clothes moist. Spilling Perrier, somebody get him out. It got born in the mansion, started sleeping on the yacht. You ain't used to have emotion, only living off the cloud. Be some hoes that's gonna play with you, but me, I will not.
All my bitches thick as Keisha and they got cash. Every time we get a drop, spin a block fast. I get real dope, boy, but I'm not cash. When I leave the house, I know for sure I got my man. I let her ice my bitch out, she ice me out too. Youngest nigga in the city playing drop cook. Catch a op with his bitch, she get shot too. Every bitch in the city wanna know what I do. Bitch, I get cash, find a op lot, spinning shit fast. Big dash on the drop ins, I get whiplash. Catch a op in a fishbowl, making shit crash. Put a bitch on her, she gon' put him in a trick bag. Me, I got a big bag. All my bitches come with good pussy and a big ass. Spin a bow money, all the show money get stashed. Point me to a big body Benz, I could just crash.
I done jumped inside my bag and zipped it up. First dream was a meal, then it touching wasn't enough. I told you way before we fuck, we just fucking and ain't love. See me shoot with my chain on, I said it wasn't us, we stretch shit. No, I'm Henry, should've never left, bitch. I bought my bitch a X6, that shit got my X. It ain't just my wrist and fingers, bitch, you know my whole neck lit. Add myself to an account like this shit was Netflix. Don't fuck with me, caught our heart together, bitch, you stuck with me. She should sign a G-Unit, her kid worth a $150. Get on your ass in old fashion, you know we love switch. Trade to a shoe star, but he ain't make enough wishes. I boot up, suit up, come right in the house. I DM, then pull up, come right in her mouth. The snowfall in the city, so I'm flying them south. If he hiding in the crib, we firebombing the house is easy.
He woke up with a 223 in his dread. Yeah, he gon' read what he sold, a chop shoe needle and thread. You never see me cause I'm deep in my bag. I treat this bitch like a tampon and leave her on red. She was dreaming about the dick down there, peed in the bed. Bitch, keep begging for it. We Felicia and Craig. Hit his bitch, now I got permanent seats in his head. 50 clip curl like the first piece of the bread. Hey, Jimmy Butler, big heat with long extensions. Hey, bought my bitch a rose gold choke, Homer Simpson. Now she on my chocolate cause she heard I got the golden ticket on this fucking pose like I'm photogenic. Nigga, hold up. Hey, yeah, I'm fresh as hell. Take me a photo, but not with all these motherfucking dorks. Take me a solo. Swipe the rental with a fake ID. Made it a stolo. He bought a chain. Please tell me it's real. Casey and JoJo.
They like White Star rapping. He done served the whole city. My bitch is school for nursing and still on the road with me. Turn around for 50 pros, about to burn a hole in me. If he short me on that bread, I'm gonna burn a hole in me. I'm like Master P, I ain't got no limit. Niggas started, now they finish. Niggas started, then I finished. I did it on my own. I ain't borrow niggas' image. I was on the block, mixing rock like a chemist. Got the fiends lined up, got the spot like a scrimmage. I been passing out testers every day like it's Christmas. Dope talk, give it to me straight. Fuck the cold talk. First off, don't never ask me how much a fucking boat cost. Shiesty, hit this bitch 3 times like I don't know, dog. I'm Mike Big, my trap still slapping, but no dog. A nigga try to punch, I'ma slide, nigga, no fraud. Y'all can't get no boy around this bitch, cause we don't know y'all.
Hello. It is B with the Beat Code, and thank you, first of all, to all of my subscribers and those who watch my videos. Oh my goodness! Good morning. Okay, I'm hearing myself. That's good. So, I was in these YouTube streets this morning, and I kind of ran up on an interview that Umar Johnson was participating in, and I didn't even get to the whole thing. It was one piece that stood out to me, which prompted me to say, hey, let me speak on this. And as you can tell by the title, penis can only hold a woman for a season. Intellect will hold her for a lifetime. And what I mean by that is that there comes a time in every woman's life when she strives for mental stimulation, competent leadership, someone that she feels that she's with, that she's following, is basically educated on life experiences, whether it be self-experienced or learned from others, and just really having the thoughts and the creative mind just to keep her stimulated and knowing that she's with the right person. So with that being said, I can remember a little while ago, I was watching the Lapeef Network, and he was doing a live. And the title of the live, which you guys can go watch it, was "A Woman Likes a Man That Can Teach Her Something." And so it's not really a lot of times that can teach her something. It's just that she wants to know if she's having these questions about life, or she's having these questions about situations that are happening in life, maybe to herself or to other people or to a group of people. She wants to know that if she poses those questions to her man, he is going to be able to answer and bring some clarity to her mind. Now, a lot of times people think that, the Black relationship is supposed to be a revolutionary one, and that the Black man and the Black woman, they're supposed to get together and cause a revolt and bring the people together to bring change and different things. But that's not true, right? Because we already know um, that the Black relationship is not strong enough to do that, right? In today's society, the Black relationship is one that that you can say can be designed um, for the fulfillment of the relationship in one another. Come here. What you got? Is that for me? Thank you. That was fast.
Come on, man.
Thank you, Sam. Waiter. Oh, hi, cool cat. How are you? Merry Christmas. Um, the Black relationship, I mean, in this day and age, it's to sustain each other. It's to keep each other going, and it's to keep that specific family going. It's not to we're gonna go and we're gonna save all Black people, and we're gonna, be this great people. No, that's on a macro level. On a micro level, when a Black man and a Black woman gets together, that's to support one another, create a family, or support an existing family, and really just keep things together. But the main point is that the woman is eventually going to wake up from the uh, sexual fulfillment, the material fulfillment, the financial fulfillment, and she's going to say, hey, these things aren't, we're cycling on these things. Let me look into this man's mind and see what's there, right? And if there's nothing there, that's when she's going to lose faith in you. She's going to lose trust in you. She's going to doubt your leadership because you can't answer her questions or talk to her on an intellectual level. Hi, Plain Brown with Rapper. Plain Brown with Rapper. I like that. So one of the main reason why we always stress education is because there's going to come a time where your mindset and what knowledge you have acquired is going to come into question, and you need to be ready for that. Right? A lot of times people think, oh, a man will think, oh, well, my relationship didn't last because of XYZ, and because, oh, I wasn't great in bed, or because I cheated, or because I didn't have enough money, or because I didn't pay attention to my woman enough. No. The fact of the matter is that when that time came for you to stimulate her intellectually, you were incapable of doing so. And she lost faith in your leadership. Like, damn, I've been with a bird brain. So when we look at today's men and the type of women that they're choosing and wanting to be with, you know, we went through this Kevin Samuel phase where it was like, oh, she needs to be young, fit, feminine, and friendly. And, you know, she needs to be in childbearing years. And these were older men who probably had already had children, or didn't have children yet, and they were finally at their financial peak and able to take care of themselves and maybe able to take care of a family. So they were looking for younger women, right? In my opinion, they're looking for younger women because they recognize and they know that when a young girl grows into a woman, right, and uh the sex is still good. Oh, don't get me wrong, sex is still good, the shopping is still good, the living nice is still good, but they know that that woman is eventually going to wake up to start to question his mind, right? Um, so when you're having these older men that are looking for younger women, it simply means that they are not ready to present themselves as an intellect. So if say for example, a 40-year-old man gets with a woman in her 40s or even her late 30s, he knows that this woman may have had multiple sexual experiences. She may have had multiple shopping sprees. She may have had men that have taken care of her. And at this point in time, now she's looking for someone to stimulate her mind. And they can't do it. Right? So this is why they want to stay in the realm of younger women, because those women haven't reached that point yet. So they can still be childish themselves. They can still run around and play stupid. They can still run around and think that their clothing attire and their cars and their money is fulfilling enough for a woman, right? So let's look at what intellect means. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Girls just want to have fun. Right. They want to be with the girls that just want to have fun. Right. And let's look at what intellect means real quick. I'm going to share my screen. Let's share. So let me make this bigger because I'm going to read it from, because y'all know I can't see. I can't see. So, intellect. The power of faculty of the mind by which one knows or understands, as distinguished from that by which one feels and that by which one wills. The understanding, the faculty of thinking and acquiring knowledge. Capacity for thinking and acquiring knowledge, especially of a high complex order, mental capacity. A particular mind or intelligence especially of a high order. A person possessing a great capacity for thought and knowledge. Minds collectively as of a number of persons or the persons themselves. So basically what that is saying is that a person that can think, that has acquired knowledge, and that can think in a complex manner, right? So I'm not gonna hold you guys on that. I want you to listen to this portion of the interview that Umar Johnson was doing with this young lady, and I want you to listen to what she is saying, and really listen, right? Really listen. So let me get to, where am I? What is that? 28. I'm gonna back it up right here and see. Let me listen really quick. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me share this. I want you to listen. Listen to this. Listen to what she's saying.
If they leave you, that means you can be in a relationship. You can it's so many things that you can do where you could just be detached from what it is. I came here a detached spirit, a detached soul, which means I always looked at the world at my view. I pioneered the vegan community in Newark. I've been vegan my entire life. So I knew who I was. And as a little girl, I said, hey, I'm gonna make a place where I can eat multiple food. I'm a foodie. I knew who I was, but I was detached. So when I say my soul was new, I mean my soul is free.
Okay.
So in order for me to join a fight, that was one of my other questions. Should we, because of the color of our skin, when we come here in this lifetime, should I join a fight in a war that's been going on for 400 years? Or should I merely just complete my destiny and give to my people what I came here to give to them? Or do I stop that, feed my brain a whole bunch of stuff that happened in the past that no longer serves us? Or do I just come here and live my little destiny, but in a very big way where I make an impact, develop a legacy, leave wealth for my children, and then just move on to the next level of existence? Because I don't want to come back. I'm gonna be straight up and honest. I don't want to come back. I don't want to fight this fight. So what I'm here for is to help deliver. We want to deliver. Everybody say awake, woke, woke. What does that mean? Woke, 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 awake. I've been looking at the world from a bird's eye view since a little girl, not attached to any of this stuff. At any point, anytime they say, hey, we about to take over, Russia, China, everybody's coming in to take over, I'll leave here before I be a slave. I would not stay here. I'm strong enough to do that because I'm not attached to this space like that. But I'm attached to my people. I'm attached to the love. And I just want to see the people love. So everything I do, I encourage and inspire love, not the program. I think when we keep saying we, I believe we is a program. I believe when we say we, it's not fair to the people that are already woke or already in their God space. You know what I mean? We say, hey, we don't have enough this and we don't have enough that. People come into my cafe and say, we don't have vegan cafes, but you're standing in one. So the program is just so deep. And then you're saying we don't. So does that mean my grandchildren don't? But when I'm here blazing away, and when my 9-year-old grandson is writing a book about what he was raised to know, not what we told him to write, his affirmations, his meditation, his what keeps him in alignment, being outside of the box. So that's what Free Thinkers is all about, like really just thinking outside of the narrative of the we. And then the other program for me is the word they. Who?
If you listen to her, I'm gonna back it up some more. But if you listen to her, she's questioning. She's questioning. Now I don't know if she has a husband. I don't know if she has. I don't know if she has intellectual men in her family, but she is at a point where she is questioning. And let me back it up. Let me back it up. And I don't know, the people, the men that she's with, they don't have the answers to these questions. That's why she out here questioning Umar Johnson. Let me check something really quick. Okay, here we go. Let me share this. I hope I didn't lose the part where I was listening to her. But anyway, here we go. Let's listen.
I can, ultimately truly say that I came here awakened. I came here in the 70s. I can tell that my soul is a new soul. I knew my soul was new from day one I got here. I remember being born. I remember seeing my mother in labor. I remember seeing a lot of things, and I have a clear memory from age 3. Who I am today, I'm that same child. I'm that same person that it was. I know my destiny. And I think a thing that will go on to the recipe would be knowing your chart, knowing your coordinates, how you got here to this planet. Like I did, before I looked you up on YouTube, I did your numbers, and you're a 5 life path. I'm a 9 life path. That means I've been here all 9 chapters. So here, I know I came here woke, and I know that my mission and my purpose right now, you're sitting in my destiny. And I'm sitting with you in your destiny, as in all of us that's in here. This is our destiny fulfilled. It's about completing. The message would be about fulfilling your destiny. As he said earlier, this is how your soul then goes past the light. This is how you get from recycling back into this planet. You have to fulfill your purposes. You can't wake up one day like you and knew you were a speaker when you realized that in your elementary school, correct? That you were this person. You were someone that was born to do this. You're a 4th generation activated to do what you have to do for your family and your lineage, and then you're going to reactivate more people. My purpose as a 9 here is for humanity. I'm here just to simply give, to give knowledge and wisdom of knowing that the only way to freedom, real freedom, is to fulfill your destiny, or you just keep looping back around. So when I asked earlier, why 400 years? Why thousands? Why it seemed like life started in the 1700s? Like how is that possible when we've been here all these millions of years? And we had ancestors before the ancestors that we just speak about. We had ancestors before any of these things even existed, who were leaving the planet. This is why we struggle to find out who we are and the information, because we're not supposed to be here this long. If that makes any sense to you.
Makes complete sense. I would only push back against one thing. You said you were a new soul.
A very new soul.
Because your life path is a 9, and 9 represents the ancestors, and because you was born already knowing, fully aware what your destiny would be, I would challenge. I think you are definitely, without question, an ancestor come back. And the wisdom that you have is so great. And your mastery of your destiny is so great because you've been here before.
Well, when I say new soul, I didn't come here. The highest level of existence in humanity, being a human, period, is the art of detachment. When you can live a life fully detached, that means you can love without falling apart, if they leave you. That means you can be in a relationship. You can, it's so many things that you can do where you could just be detached from what it is. I came here a detached spirit, a detached soul, which means I always looked at the world at my view. I pioneered the vegan community in Newark. I've been vegan my entire life. So
Wow.
I knew who I was. And as a little girl, I said, hey, I'm going to make a place where I can eat multiple food. I'm a foodie. I knew who I was, but I was detached. So when I say my soul was new, I mean my soul is free.
Okay.
So in order for me to join a fight, that was one of my other questions. Should we, because of the color of our skin, source, why don't we dominate this one race?
Has ever ruled the earth?
Let me tell you something. She is asking questions. she's at a point in her life where she's questioning. And there's only so much knowledge you can have as a woman, right? You can have all the knowledge as a woman and be able to regurgitate it and educate and do all these things. However, what Black women sometimes fail to realize and where they wake up at is that, hey, I have a one-sided perspective about the Black race. And when I say one-sided perspective, I'm saying that the perspective is only coming from her as a woman. The reason women get to that point to where they start questioning is because they have not had the input of the Black man. So now she's come to a point where she's saying, I need the input of the Black man because I need to know that my thoughts are on the right path. My life goals are on the right path. And it's what I'm thinking, what I'm supposed to be thinking, or what I'm thinking is right. And the only way to gauge that is to gain the perspective of the Black man. Right? And if your man at home can't rise to the intellectual occasion, that's when women start to look outside of their relationship for that mental and educational stimulation. This is why it's important for Black men to educate themselves. Listen, hey, you want to be a dope dealer? Be a dope dealer. Educate yourself. You want to be a bank robber? Be a bank robber. Educate yourself. You want to be a father? Be a father. Educate yourself. You want to be a truck driver? Be a truck driver. Educate yourself. You want to be a gigolo? Be a gigolo. Educate yourself. You want to be a pimp? Be a pimp. Educate yourself. Because I don't care how long you think you're going to be able to avoid coming in contact with that woman who wants her thoughts about the Black community validated. You better be ready to rise to the occasion. Right? And see how this woman is not even in a relationship with Umar Johnson, but she felt as if this was a very intelligent man that she could go to answer her questions. Now, I don't know how her man at home gonna feel about her having to go to another man for that intellectual stimulation. But I'm telling you, when that woman gets to that point where she wants to be talked to and she wants to be looking at a man, and when she's listening to him, he got some damn sense about himself and he can tell her something, she gonna go for it. It don't matter how many Gucci bags she got. It doesn't matter how many pairs of Louis Vuitton shoes she has. It don't matter how many diamonds he done bought her. It don't matter how many times he done changed her ring for their anniversary. It does not matter how good sex is. If he cannot fulfill her intellectual need, she will look outside of that relationship. And this is why men find themselves the majority of the time saying, she left me. She didn't leave you because you weren't fulfilling your husbandly duties, your fatherly duties. She left you, or she cheated, because there was a man that she found that was stimulating, that had the capabilities of stimulating her intellectually. Right? Some men use intellect as a hook, line, and sinker to get women, and then all of a sudden they turn dumb, right? But I'm telling you, if you cannot stimulate that woman intellectually, you are mentally going to lose her. Some women stay and go through the motions and, call they boss up on the phone because they boss got so much knowledge and intelligence and can answer them deep questions that she has, or she's gonna stop come outside in the morning time and talk to that male neighbor, strike a conversation with him just to see what's in his mind. And if she enjoys that mental stimulation, she's going to make it a point to be able to come outside and talk to that man. Therefore, you have lost your woman mentally and you only have her physically. And then, she's going to try to talk to you and elicit education and knowledge from you. And it's just not going to be there. And she's going to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll just, I'll go to bed. You know what I'm saying? Or I'll just fulfill my wifely duties, and just, I don't know, move on. But she's going to get that mental stimulation somewhere. So what I'm saying is that the penis, it's only going to hold her for a season. But if you got some real knowledge about what's going on with your own people and you can provide some input to her, home run. But let me see if I can find this part where she was letting him know that she's basically at this point where she needed to come to somebody. Hold it. Oh my God, it's crazy. Hold on, yeah. Okay. Okay, so let me let y'all listen to this part, because like I said, this is a very intellectual woman. She knows where she's going. She knows what she wants. She has had her own mind for a long time, her own thoughts, her own views, right? But at the same time, she has come to a point in her life where now she is questioning herself and wondering why it is. Why is this? Why is that? And I'm telling you, the man at home, she hasn't, I don't know. That ring look mighty big, baby, but you shouldn't have to go to another man to have your questions answered. It means that you are sitting on this podcast with Dr. Umar Johnson, asking him questions that you have. And that means that you with your husband are unequally yoked, because you're supposed to be able to go to your husband and ask him these questions. You shouldn't have to go to Umar Johnson and ask him these questions. So now she's looking for more. She's looking for mental stimulation. She's looking for someone to validate her thoughts, feelings, questions, and issues. And she had to go to Umar Johnson to do it. Let's listen.
On the planet. We're the only people to have ever ruled the earth in freedom, justice, and equality. The Caucasian can't do it. Arab can't do it. Asian can't do it. The only people who can run this planet on justice are the only people who ever have, and those are the Africans.
Okay. When you speak of a supreme being, some say the Most High, some say Yahweh, Jehovah, Ra.
Wait a minute.
You know, do you
Hold
think?
on. Wait a minute. Listen, Plain Brown, Plain Brown rapper. Hubby might not be into her mumbo jumbo. That could be true. However, he is supposed to be ready for her mumbo jumbo, even if he's not into it, because I am educating you. I am telling you that in every woman's life, she comes to a point where she needs intellectual stimulation and validation for her thoughts, her views, her issues, and anything else that's going on in her mind. And if you aren't ready for that, and you can't answer her questions and speak to her on a level that she is seeking, on a level that is now the stimulating factor, you are going to be a non-factor in her mental life, right? So, which means with her hubby, she's going to have to keep herself on his level, which is sex, money, and materialism. That is why people outgrow relationships, because you aren't ready for the different stages in their lives. Same thing with a man. I'm not just going to put this all on. I'm not going to just put this all on the woman. There comes a time in men's life when they start questioning as well. And if they have a good communicative relationship with their wife or a girlfriend or whoever it is they're with, they're going to eventually come to you and ask you a question to test you to see where is your mindset and can I get this stimulation from you. If not, they're going to start to view you as, I married this fucking bird brain. I married this. Damn, right? She needs not so much that she needs guidance, right? Because she sounds successful, right? She's confident in herself. She's wearing her natural hair. I don't see her with lashes on. I don't see her with fake boobs. I don't see her having a butt job. So she's well guided. She needs validation from her thoughts, for her thoughts and for her views, and is this really what I'm seeing? Is this really what I'm hearing? Is this really what I'm experiencing? Is this really what the Black community is experiencing? And she needs that validation from the male, and she needs his perspective on her thoughts and views. Right. And that is what Umar is providing. He's very, very intelligent, man. I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with him one of these days and wear one of his dashikis. Let's continue.
This is a two-part question. Do you think there is a supreme being that governs the Africans? Then there's a supreme being that governs the Caucasians or, the Asians in that regard. And I asked that question because being the supreme beings on the planet, this is something that it just plagues me for years and years and years. Like,
right. It has plagued her for years and years and years and years. But yet and still, she has not been able to go to her husband and get validation and ask him these questions and get his male perspective on the issues that she's having, the questions that she's having. You can't do that. The ring is nice, baby girl, right? The ring is nice, but if you don't have a man at home that can rise to the occasion, you're going to start to view him as an inferior. He's not on the same mindset as I am.
The supreme being, and I'm a woman. I have a womb. I bring life from one dimension into another.
Mm-hmm.
How is it that my people are oppressed? How is it that, again, I heard these stories when I was growing up. I heard about slavery. I heard about these things. But now as a grown woman with grandchildren, how is it that we're still fighting the same fight? Spiritually is where I think, you know what I'm saying? Like, where is God at spiritually for the African people? Is it separate gods? Is it one God? Is it like, what is happening? Is there a war in the heavens that's trickling down to us through us spiritually? Are we just a bunch of recycled beings living in a space where if we're not completing our destinies, we can't leave this planet? And then when we're rebirthing ancestors, we're rebirthing tyrants over and over and over again. What is this space? What is this place? Like, how do we get to the solution? What is it? Is there more than one supreme being? Is there one supreme being? Did the black race do something wrong and this supreme being has us in this state? Because if we're connected, we're directly connected to source. Why can't we dominate this one race? You telling me people lived in the mountains? They had no vegetation. They had nothing. And now they rule over the supreme beings that were ancestral here. We're the mother and fathers of Africa.
That's true.
How is that possible?
But when those Caucasians traveled out the ice for a better place and came down from Europe into Africa, we engaged in what I call the original sin of African people. And that is participating in cultural and racial color blindedness.
Okay, let me say this. If that's the case, now, if we're still, you said we need to get back to oneness, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So in this oneness has to come from source. Where's this one frequency coming from? Where's this one source of love? Where's this one source of power coming?
See, this is my view. This is my view. She should be sitting here having this conversation with her husband, right? And her husband should be on this podcast with her and Umar Johnson, and he should be able to stand on at the same level intellectually as Umar Johnson to let his wife know that, yes, we have this guest on here. Yes, I've already validated my wife, but we want to, since Umar, you are such an intellectual being, we want to hear your perspective on our thoughts, because this is what I've told my wife. I've told my wife X, Y, and Z, and K, J, and Y. And, you know, we have come to an understanding that this is why it is. But now let us take a look into your views and your perspectives and see what is going on. And then Umar Johnson is supposed to say, yes, my brother, you are absolutely correct. Because when you said X, Y, and Z, LMNOP resonated with me, and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. To let the husband know that I'm not giving your wife anything intellectually that you haven't already given her. So what I am basically here to do is just have this conversation and give it to you from my intellectual view, but just in a different way, so that other people who don't understand it your way can understand it my way, but still come to the same end goal of understanding, because people understand things differently. And they need things to be presented to them differently, right? So I look at it like, dude, this ain't good, right? This ain't good. If you got to go to another man to have your thoughts validated, it just looks bad. It looks bad. Now I can't say that she hasn't gone to her husband, but one can say, why is she on here on this podcast asking Umar Johnson these deep ass questions when she should be able to go to her husband?
Coming from, and how come we can't access it right now? Even if however many hundreds of years ago they tricked us, why can't we be untricked now? Like, why are we still tricked?
Because spirit and psychology are separate, related but separate. Spiritually, you have the potential to overcome white supremacy. Psychologically, you don't have the belief or the courage to do so. God governs in a manner that I would consider soft governance. What I mean by that is God has given us free will as human beings. You have the free will. Nobody forced us to let white people into Africa. We did it on our own. So we have to take responsibility for a lot of this.
Yes,
Nobody forces us to spend $30 billion on hair, or $2 billion on Air Jordans, or $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, or $4 billion on liquor. Nobody forces us to buy twice the luxury cars of Europeans, but yet we control less than a quarter of their wealth. The issue is we have a say-so in what happens. And one of the weaknesses of African people is whenever things go wrong for us, we want to look to God. You see how that works?
Or blame the white man.
Blame the white man or blame God. But neither God nor the white man forced you to spend your disposable income on useless junk and enjoyments. So at the center of this situation is a refusal to accept accountability. We believe in plausible denial. And the reason Black people believe in plausible denial is we want no accountability or responsibility to other Black people for the solutions that we need. Now, getting back to God, I want to be clear on a couple things that might clarify. We're all recycled. Because we're all ancestors who have been here before. You're an ancestor from your bloodline return to finish a job that wasn't. I'm an ancestor from my bloodline return to finish a job that was not created. Now, in heaven, you negotiate the purpose of this incarnation with supreme consciousness. And once you come to this world, you are given certain circumstances and people, such as your parents, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, the neighborhood you're born into, over which you had very little control, but they were sent here because you needed these particular experiences to set you up to be successful in the attainment of your life's destiny. That includes the time you were born. So what I mean by that is the reason you are born at this time. And I am born at this time. And all of us here are born at this time is because within our collective destiny, apart from our individual one, we have an obligation to destroy white supremacy. You would not have been born at this time if you did not have an obligation to return the world back to freedom, justice, and equality. That means put Black people in charge.
Now that I agree with, I respect that answer. The accountability piece is huge, because once that's realized, that accountability piece, that's where that's where the power is going to come in.
But that requires unity and trust.
So I write recipes, right? I told you I'm a writer. So if I had to write a recipe for the Black culture, for humanity, for the Pan-Africanism, for everything, the recipe number one is what? What's the first thing we want to put on this recipe? We know we got love. Okay.
I'm gonna give you a children's recipe and an adult recipe. The children's recipe is real simple. There's an African proverb that says, every time a new baby is born, that is a message from God that he or she has not given up on us. That means if we took one generation of Black youth, take every African child born November 20th of 2023 until November 20th of 2043, 20 years, you would have a whole new people. We would have to be free because you have built freedom so much into their collective consciousness that they could not tolerate for 1 second oppression of any kind. 20 years, we would be free if we would just take the babies. So then the question becomes, why haven't we done that yet? Because that requires the love that we spoke of earlier. The reason African people are always reacting to racism, reacting to crises, reacting to casualty and trauma is because we don't have enough love to create the systems in advance to avert the casualties and the traumas and the crises from coming. I'll give you an example. If I love my child, I'm going to feed him. I'm not going to wait for him to get sick before I feed him. If I love my child, I'm going to take him to the pediatrician. I'm not going to wait until he gets sick to take him to the pediatrician. If I love my child and it's cold outside, I'm going to dress him warm. Hat, gloves, coat, whatever I need to keep my child warm. Why did I do that? Why didn't I wait to see if he got sick and then dress them warm because I love my baby. And because I love my baby, I'm going to do everything up front to protect him and insulate him from any negative experiences he can have. Black people are the exact opposite. We wait till the child catch the cold, then we dress them well. We wait till the child gets sick, then we take them to the pediatrician. What's the difference between a parent who does it all right up front and a parent who reacts to negative things happening to their children? It's a difference of love. The parent who does everything up front love their child enough to solve a problem before it shows up. The parent over here didn't have enough love, so they only react when bad things happen to their child. I'll give you an example. School to prison pipeline, right? You got parents in New Jersey, Newark, Patterson, Camden, Sicklerville, Jersey City, Montclair, Trenton, who don't make their children do their homework. They don't check the homework. They don't go to the school. You see that? It's not enough love up front to do the things that's right. But when he's 25 years and in jail, now they got to go see him. They got to put money on the books. They got to pay for the lawyer to try to get him out. You see the difference? If you loved them, you would have did the prevention. Because you didn't have enough love, you stuck with intervention. That's Black America. We react to the police killings. Why not create your own police system that renders the mainstream police system totally useless in your community? You ain't got enough love. People who love people solve problems before they show up. People who ain't got enough love, they only react to what racism does to them.
Okay. So let's tap back into, you said we were talking about destinies.
Destiny. We all have a destiny.
I can, ultimately truly say that I came here awakened. I came here in the 70s.
Okay, yeah, she goes back to her awakening thing. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning and see. I feel Umar on what he was saying. I really feel him when he said that. However, the fact of the matter is that the way we take care of our children is generational, right? We do with our children what our parents did with us, and our parents did with us what their parents did with them. So therefore, there's a cycle of bad parenting that has happened unless one of those generations, you have to stop the cycle. So if you, and this is why it is always important to go back to how you were raised as a child and determine whether what your parents did brought you the outcome that you are now sitting in, right? If you're sitting in the outcome that you don't want to be in as a result of how your parents raised you, then common sense, which is not all that common, would tell you that I'm not going to do my kids the same way my parents did me. However, you also have to take into consideration the resources that your parents had in order to be preventative, right? This is where free clothing drives came in. This is where free school supply drives come in, because sometimes parents just don't have the resources in order to be preventative, right? Sometimes they have to be reactive. And this is why society has put together so many programs as preventative measures. So they'll say, hey, we're doing a coat drive. Anybody that can afford to donate a nice fitting, suitable, I don't know, well put together coat, please drop it off at this address, because we're doing a coat giveaway for people that are not able to afford, or parents that are not able, or families that are not able to afford the proper clothing for winter, right? And they don't wait until winter comes to do that. They do that before winter comes, right? Same thing with Christmas toy drives. They don't wait until one day before Christmas to do that. No, you can go into the store today and they'll say, hey, we're having a toy drive. Would you like to donate a toy? Would you like to purchase and donate a toy, or would you like to, give $1 to purchase a toy for children in need that won't have a good holiday? So a lot of times, you can say yes, it's bad parenting, but a lot of times you have to say it's lack of resources that parents have. Sometimes they have to send you out there with the best thing that they have, right? You may not have a suitable coat. You may not have those gloves and things that you need. But you have to say to yourself, how was I raised as a child? And do I want to raise my kids the same way my parents raised me? And I bet you 85% of the society would say, fuck no. Hell no. Right? But I feel him on that. Anyway, let's see if I can get to what I wanted to hear.
Free your mind.
Up in here, the power, the energy, the frequency is insane. We just had some vegan food.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent
Chef
food.
Joe, the zucchini bar. And we are here. And so Free Thinkers Podcast is for inventors, thought leaders, and creatives of all kinds. And the purpose is to move social and economic mobility forward. We want to get to the leading edge. So we want to know, we want to find out what's next. How do we get to the solution? We understand the problems, we know what's going on, but what is the solution? Tell me what to do when I wake up every day. Tell me how to get this going or what I need to do so that way I can train my children and my generations to do what it is that we have to do. So we are going to start off with a free thought. This is my little magic box of questions, and whatever Dr. Umar picks out, Okay. What's the best thing going for you right now?
The best thing going for Dr. Umar in life at this time, I actually got two answers. One is the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. After 9 years of fundraising and nearly 5 years of attempting to renovate, we finally got to the point where we're almost concluding our renovations. Electric system, plumbing system, HVAC system, sprinkler system, security system, all repaired and inspected. So we're looking at finishing repairs, God willing, by the start of the new year, and having a community grand opening sometime in Black History Month or spring, and then opening up for our students either this summer or next summer. So that's the one half. The other half, I would just say the love of the people. You know, as you saw today, when we were walking into Rutgers Newark campus, the love that I get from the people. There's nothing more intoxicating or humbling than to be stopped on the street by somebody who tells you you changed their life. You saw the one brother, he wasn't going to let us go.
Not at all.
And that type of energy is what keeps me going. People say, what keeps you going? It's when I get those random text messages, those random emails, and who really gets to me the most? The young children and the elders. When I get somebody old enough to be my great grandma, great grandpapa, I'll give you one. There was one elder who texted me and he said, you're the last, what did he say? You're the last thing that's keeping me from giving up on Black people. He said, I've been through all these movements, all these organizations. Dr. Umar, I believe in you. And you know what he said? You better not be a mother effing sellout. Because he said, you're the only reason I'm not throwing in the towel. I'm putting my last breath of hope for Black America in Dr. Umar.
Right.
Yesterday, I was at the celebration of life for elder, now ancestor Robert Dickerson. He's one of the premier activists in New Jersey, based in Camden.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you why that man said what he said. I'm gonna tell you why that man said that to Umar. He said that because a lot of these so-called Black movements, they're only really designed to elicit finances from people. The leader is usually a scammer. What they got going on is usually a scam, because at the end of the day, out of all these Black organizations that you see, I don't see them pounding the pavement to educate or enlighten the people. Right? I don't see any of these conscious community people pounding the actual sidewalk, stopping and talking to Black people, handing out information, explaining the information, right? It's always via online, and come to this seminar, and come to this group, and come here and come there, and then they elicit donations from you. Now, mind you, I understand that organizations don't run on air. I understand that, right? However, I just don't feel as if we're reaching the people the way we need to be reaching the people doing the things that they're doing. I get it. You online. Somebody has to happen upon your channel. However, back in the day when there was no internet, when there was no social media, Black organizations had to pound the pavement in order to get members, in order to get their message out. So this is why the message is not being gotten out in the manner that we need it to be, because social media has so many distractions. You got the music, you got the entertainers, you got the women on here that are not doing things, or not doing the things they're supposed to be doing. So there's a whole lot of distractions. Right. But one surefire way in order to reach the people, if you're serious about your message, is to pound that pavement in groups and say, hey, 5 of us are going to go in this neighborhood. 5 of us are going to go in that neighborhood. Another 5 of us is going to go in this neighborhood. And we are going to get the message out. Sort of like the Israelites, how they stand outside and they're preaching their message, and they're handing out their literature, and they're talking to random people. It's like they're actually on the pavements reaching the people that are maybe not social media savvy, or that don't even look at social media. There's some strong individuals out there that feel social media is a bunch of garbage, so therefore they're not on there checking for you. So I mean that's a big issue. So when you're trying to change a community, a lot of times you have to pound the pavement. That's why you have Jehovah's Witnesses pounding the pavement, going door to door. That's why you have, what do they call those? What do they call them? They call them missionaries. That's why they pound the pavement, and they go in groups to different countries and make their presence known. Like, you don't have to have internet. You don't have to have a phone. We're going to come directly and talk to you, so that you have the ability to ask questions and have your questions answered immediately. We're going to give you this literature in hand, so that maybe when you're sitting on your living room couch, or you're at your dining room table, or in the bathroom, or at whatever your leisure time is, you can be reading this material and really making a change. Because sometimes when you give people materials that are designed to change their way of thinking, it has the ability to change the way they run their household. And if you're trying to tell people and give people answers to their questions and how to change their life, sometimes, hey, you got to give it to them in writing, or it's going to be ineffective. And especially if they can't talk to you and ask those very important questions that they need clarifying.
Is the founder, along with his wife, Queen Mother Wanda, who's still with us, of the Universal African Dance and Drum Ensemble. I'm sure you heard of him. He passed away a few weeks ago. He came to the first annual FDMG Festival. You know what he said? We were in the classroom, and Sister Pam Africa was there. Shout out to Sister Pam Africa. And he said, somebody asked him, who did he feel is the best intellectual between Malcolm X, Dr. Umar, and he either said James Baldwin or Dr. Khaled or Amos. And he said he was asked, who would he go with as the top intellectual? He chose me. This is an elder. He saw some of these men speak. You feel me? He saw them, and he said, I would choose you over them. I'll never forget that the rest of my life. So again, the school, but also the love of the people. And because it appears as if I get so much negativity and pushback, it's important for me to accentuate the love, because a lot of people, if they follow the YouTube narrative, would think I have far more haters than supporters. Impossible. Way more support than hate.
Well, when you talk in terms of love, if you had to describe love, what would you say? If it was an instrument or a tool, what tool would love be?
I would say love is the process of losing your ego boundary and merging into oneness with another person or community in such a way that the things that would render you willing to give your life for yourself, you will be willing to give your life for that person, for that cause, or for that people. Love is the dropping of ego, so we become one. You see that? Once we become one, I am you and you am I. And that's why in the Bobo Shanti community, the Bobo Shanti Rastafari, I'm very close with them because they consider Marcus Garvey to be part of their divine trinity. So within their spiritual system, the Honorable Marcus Garvey is a God. And they always speak of each other in terms of the I. So if you say something, I will say the I said. In other words, when you spoke, I was speaking. And we as African people got to get back to oneness, because our solution lies in the oneness. And I would add to that, in order for us to get the divine intervention we want from supreme consciousness, we have to activate our divinity. And our divinity as a people can only be activated when we become one. Oneness is the solution. Oneness is love.
So in knowing, for me, I know that love just wants more of itself. So it's safe to say that love would be like a sword, because it's going to cut through the BS. It's going to cut through. It's going to remove people, places, and things that no longer serve you, to get to the heart of where it all begins, and that's self.
That is true. The problem is there's something that's almost as strong as love that keeps so many of us from being able to experience authentic love for self, for each other, or for one's people. And that force, that counter force to love that keeps most of us from ever experiencing that true ecstasy of intimacy is trauma. Traumatized people cannot drop their guard enough to give themselves an opportunity to love. When you've been beat, when you've been hurt, when you've been let down by other Black people and Black communities and that type of a thing, the trauma, the fear, the anxiety, the apprehensive expectation, you're so guarded, so focused on defending your sense of self and your life that you never give yourself an opportunity to experience love. Love requires courage, the courage to drop one's defenses and preconceived notions. The fear that accompanies love is the fact you got to be willing to get hurt in order to experience it. Hurt and vulnerability is the river over which you must cross in order to get to the oasis of love.
Yeah. So basically, when we ask these questions, we're saying, okay, what's the solution? The solution is love. So is the how can I say, a recipe? If every person in the world woke up.
Well, the solution is not love, right? Because there's love all over the damn place. People indulge in all types of love. And if love was the solution, we would see some change, right? The solution is education, because knowing, understanding, and learning brings love. You have gained the knowledge and the understanding to know how to love, when to love, where to love, and when not to love, right? Love is so broad. Love thy enemy, love thy friends, love your mother, love your father, love your children, love thyself, right? Knowledge gives you the reason to love. It teaches you the reason to love. You don't just love because love is there and everybody should be loved. No, you understand why you're loving this person. So if you have taken the time to educate yourself on the path of Black people, or the path that Black people have been forced to take and now have been conditioned to take, when you love Black people, you understand why. If you have no knowledge of what Black people have been through, you don't know how to love them, first of all. Right? So this is why I always have an issue with women and men when they want to throw their children out. Who throws someone out of the home if they love them? Right? Birds don't even leave the nest until they learn how to fly. Birds don't get thrown out of a nest. They learn how to fly and then they fly away. But it is the mother that's there giving them the knowledge in order to fly. And as the bird knows, and as the bird has received its education from its mother, it is able to pass down that education to the children, to the baby birds, in order to teach them how to fly, in order to raise them how to fly. So if you don't have the knowledge of what you should be doing as a parent and how you should be raising your children as a parent, and then you all of a sudden you don't love you throw them out, that's saying I don't love you no more. Some people say, "Oh, I'll throw my kids out because I love them. I want to." No, that's bullshit. That's an excuse for not wanting to continue to nurture your children until they can fly on their own. So love is too broad. You have to learn. You have to be educated and figure out why you love this person, or why should you love this person, or how should you love this person. Yes, everybody deserves love, but how does this person need to be loved? And the only way to know that is either to study that person, or when you study that person, that means to learn all about them, their trials and tribulations, their successes and their failures, their wants versus needs, right? Their self-love. Or you can educate yourself just on the basics of all types of people, all types of trials and tribulations, all types of signs and symptoms of all different trials and tribulations. And then when you meet that person, you can instantly say, I know how that person needs to be loved. If you have no education, you won't learn how to do that. But we don't want to be educated. We just want to have fun.
Today, what's next for them? What do they eat? What do we feed them now? There's no more supremacy, no more oppression, no more nothing. Everybody just woke up. Everybody's woke. What's next for them? What happens next?
Now remember, just because you woke, don't mean you're not traumatized.
Right. But when you're awaken for me would be you're above all that. You passed all that. All that's done. You resolved it. I mean, in a perfect world, a perfect society, like now, everybody took your message and we heed the message. We got together, we became one, we operated out of love, we began to love ourselves. Mm-hmm. What would that look like next for the people that
abundance.
It would be abundance.
It would be a return to the Garden of Eden, not in the religious context, in a historical African cultural context. Because prior to the arrival of these alien groups, we lived in a Garden of Eden. We as African people come from a culture of abundance. We never lacked anything. God gave us everything. If we needed clothes, we had animals. You wanted some fish, they right there in the water. You want some fruit, they up there on the tree. You need some diamonds, some gold, some platinum, some oil, it's right under your feet. Sure. Right? So the prime state of existence for African people can be summed up in one word, and that is abundance.
Abundance, right?
The need to never fear for lack, because you always know God is the supply.
Right.
And that right there, in that lies the contradiction between African existence and European existence, because they come from an ice trauma where Mother Nature did not give the pale man the things that he needed in order to survive. We came from the sun. The sun is the supreme symbol of the Most High. And so the sun provided us with land, the animals, the crops, the water. We need it for nothing. Now contrast your culture of abundance with the Caucasian pale man's culture of scarcity. He was in the mountains, in the ice, in the cold. Nothing grew, nothing crawled. He had to wait for his people to die in order to get some meat. And if he was thirsty, he had to drink their blood. So he grew up in a society where there was never enough. He grew up in a society where you had to be cunning, you had to be thrift, you had to be strategic, you had to lie, you had to be deceptive. And because of his ice trauma, the white man come to believe that the best way to prevent from ever dealing with famine or starvation was to dominate all the resources of the world. You wonder why the country of England, the British Empire, once controlled 25% of the earth and 40% of the people on the planet. Why does a little island like England need to control 40% of the people on the planet? Because when you've been traumatized by not having enough, the only security you can have is by knowing you control all the gold, all the diamonds, all the oil. You want all the food. And that is the essential contradiction of European people. They do not share. They must dominate and monopolize. That is an outgrowth of their ice trauma.
Okay.
And I would argue that's why we can never fully coexist with them. Because you and I, we are creatures of abundance. We give. We get and we give without a thought of self. White people cannot do that. They take and they dominate. There is no sharing with the white power structure. That's why whenever you see an ad on television saying we're building a new Newark, New Jersey, so everyone in Newark, New Jersey can enjoy the great life of the city, that's a lie. White people do not share. They dominate. Only Africans share. We are the original humanitarians. I would dare argue that we are the only sincere humanitarians on the planet. We're the only people to have ever ruled the earth in freedom, justice, and equality. Caucasian can't do it. Arab can't do it. Asian can't do it. The only people who can run this planet on justice are the only people who ever have, and those are the Africans.
Okay. When you speak of a supreme being, some say the Most High, some say Yahweh, Jehovah, Ra. You know, do you think this is a two-part question. Do you think there is a supreme being that governs the Africans? Then there's a supreme being that governs the Caucasians or, you know, the Asians in that regard. And I ask that question because being the supreme beings on the planet, this is something that it just plagues me for years and years and years. Like I remember seeing a lot of things and I have a clear memory from age 3. It would be about started in the 1700s. Like how is that?
And the wisdom that you have.
A foodie. I knew who I was, but I don't want to fight this fight. So what I'm here for is to help deliver courage and inspire love, not the program. I think when we keep saying we don't have enough that people come into my cabinet out of the box. So that's what Free Thinkers is all about, like really just thinking outside of the narrative of the we. And then the other program for me is the word they. Who is they? We point the finger. We give so much power to they and take away when we say we don't, but they do. Who is they, and why is there such an imbalance on they and not we? You know what I mean? So these are the conversations that, you know, I like to have. These are some things that I got you here today, literally, because I felt like you was the only person I could talk to right now. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. Okay. So you hear that? She said, I got you here today because he's the only person she felt she could talk to. So, baby girl, what is the purpose of your husband? Right? If you feel so in distress that you felt like Dr. Umar Johnson was the only person that you could talk to right now, what's going on with your husband? What's going on with your husband? Right? He's not the intellect that you need. So therefore, we understand you're just going through the motions with him because he can't fulfill your intellectual need. But let's continue.
How I, really want to talk to an intellectual human and a intellectual brain that, powwow this out. Help me see that in a different light. You're right. I lived every lifetime. I've been here. I know I had people walk up to me and tell me who I was in the past lifetimes. And everything that I do, I'm a medicine woman. I can heal you with herbs. I can feed you the food that's going to, but it's all for solution. Everything here should be about solution. When we're out there fighting this battle, I'll come with you. I'll throw the all black on. I'll get rid of the rainbow road with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm that soul. I'm that spirit, because I'm not attached to what this person may think. I started the Free Thinkers podcast because everybody, my family always tell me, you can't say that because of who you are. You can't say that because of what you do in the community. You can't say this. You can't say that. And I'm not a media Instagram person for that. My soul wants to know. You know what I'm saying? I want to leave here. I want to elevate to the next level of spirituality, wherever source is taking us or whatever is the next level. And I want my people to have the freedom to do the same thing, to get up out of here. So we're not, obviously, is this our land? Is this our world that we can't ever conquer it and come back to what it is? And we drawn from the same force from thousands of years ago. The same God, the same supreme being is still there. We should be able to draw upon the same frequencies and move forward.
And we can. One thing that African people have to understand, I believe, is that the European was created intentionally to force us back to our divinity. I don't believe the white man was an accident. I believe the white man was a spiritual necessity. And he is here. And God is going to allow him to keep killing, keep oppressing, keep stealing, keep marginalizing, keep exterminating until Black people wake up and recognize that we are God, and part of our earthly destiny, the collective destiny, is to retake back the planet, which is to say that all of this multicultural talk, all humanity are one talk, I'm not completely against it, but Black people have to recognize that we have a spiritual responsibility and a spiritual privilege in this world by virtue of our melanin, which is not color, it is power. It is our birthright to the divine, that we are destined to run the planet. And as long as we let other people do it and content ourselves with being their slave when God put us in charge, we will continue to suffer. Your destiny lies through the destruction of white supremacy and any other form of race-based superiority until we go back to where we are supposed to be. Because at the end of the day, we gave birth to all these races anyway.
Absolutely.
We should be the ones in charge. Now, when we talk about the we is important. Because in African culture, the we is the basic unit of existence. There is never an I. The we is the family itself. In fact, the concept of the surname, the reason why everybody in one family has the same last name is because the last name metaphorically symbolizes the I that everyone is a part of. So we are still the we. However, to your point, that I within the we has the power and the responsibility to influence the others. So you are never a blind follower. You are never a robot. You are a cell within the body of African people, a cell that needs to influence the behavior of all the other cells so that the we can actually work in a manner that is beneficial to the me.
Right. That's a beautiful way to put it. It's just what follows the we for me. When we say we don't, but they do. You know,
well, those are relevant too, though.
How about, well, like, okay, my again, I'll go back to my grandson, my granddaughter, 9 and 7. Do I tell them that we don't do all these things? When they don't see that. They're not experiencing that. They know their culture, right? But they're not experiencing that. Do I put that? Do I program? Well, do I say we are? We can, we do, we this, we that. Some of
you should always be affirmative with the children, right? Because you're conditioning.
Even adult, because even like say you got babies that wake up. The young boys that came.
Okay, I'm done. She got too many goddamn questions for me. You a grandmama and you don't even know how to and your husband is. I told y'all. Women come to the point in their lives where they need to be intellectually stimulated and validated and to know that they have a competent counterpart in their life. They're going to come to a point of questioning. They're going to come to that point where they look to you and say, you know, what's in this man's mind? I know what's in his pockets. I know what's between his legs. I know what he likes to wear. But what is truly, truly in his mind? How does he feel about his community? How does he feel about his race of people? How does he feel about what's going on in society? Does he know why what's going on is going on? And if you can't rise to the occasion and answer the questions for these women, they are going to go and find a man that they can have that conversation with and answer those questions. So think about it.